All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, what you're looking at right here is actually what allowed me to make an additional, like with zero extra work, an additional 10 to roughly 15K a month on top of what I'm already making. Okay. By understanding this within my coaching business. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through this, give you a few examples. I want you guys to understand this. Um, and that's pretty much it. So, we're going to jump into it right here. Okay. So, what is happening right now in the market? So let's say you're a coach of some sort, kind of like me. A lot of people, what they're doing is they're getting very tied up with certain acquisition channels. So let's say they're doing short form content or posting ads, stuff like that. A lot of people, what they're doing is they're kind of following the standard process. So they have an ad is going to like a lead magnet. Maybe they've read like Alex Hormozzi's books or something, or maybe some sort of video sales letter, and then to a book a call. Okay. And then what's pretty much happening is they're getting people on these calls and they're going through the sales script. And pretty much at the end of that sales call, they're just getting tons of objections. Let me think about it. Let me talk to my wife. I can't afford it. Yeah. Let me give me a few days, etc. And it's just an objection handling nightmare. They're just like doing Aikido with these objections. Okay. And this is still a great process. You can make a lot of money with this. I've made a lot of money with this. I mostly did add to VSL. I've never, like, lead magnet could include VSL, right? Lead magnet could be like an ebook or a PDF or a VSL or whatever, free school community, for example. But I've mostly done add to VSL to book a call. Okay. And just to give you a heads up with this, the sales cycle for this could be anywhere from 12 to, let's say, 1 week, 12 hours to 1 week, right? 12 hours to 1 week. That's about the sales cycle with this. It's pretty short. Okay. And what I realized is I was doing this for a long time and I was getting a lot of problems. Okay. Like a lot of objections you're going to have to handle. It's going to be like a pain in the ass. Emotionally, it's going to be a pain in the ass. You're going to be taking calls. Calls are not going to be showing up. The calls that show up, they're going to give you a hard time. It's going to be hard to close. And you're going to be kind of going through this emotional kind of like, it's going to be tough, right? So I was doing this for a really long time and teaching people how to do it as well. And then what I realized is like, I'm like, why am I going through this? Why am I putting myself and subjecting myself through this pain? Like I was learning a lot about sales. I was understanding it, but like, why am I doing that? So pretty much the realization I made is what if I lengthened my sales cycle and pretty much made it so that everyone I got on a call with, like, had to have at least watched at least 10 hours of my content. Okay. Because if someone watches 10 hours of your content, they have built rapport with you. They know who you are. They feel like they understand you. Like, for example, let's say, like who's a YouTuber that you watch? Let's say you watch Logan Paul, for example, right? If you see Logan Paul in public, you're going to be like, oh my God, you have this like personal connection with him that's kind of unique to you. Okay. So the same thing happens with sales and when you're actually, building these, building this. So what I did is I was like, okay, instead of just shortening down my sales cycle, hard closing, which is great. I was like, okay, let's just lengthen the sales cycle and focus on education before anything. And that's when everything changed. Okay. So number one, what I focused on is personal discovery. So I wanted people to feel like they had the accreditation of discovering me themselves. Okay. When you're throwing an ad up in someone's face, you're forcing it down their throat. Okay. You're pushing it at them. It's push marketing. Okay. Does it work? Yes. Okay. But when you're doing a personal discovery type, it's more pull marketing. And what people, when someone feels like they found you, they feel like they found the hidden gem. Oh my God, have you heard of this guy? Those people, maybe you've had friends before who have been like this, but they'll show you like a band or something that they only listen to or a musician that they only listen to. And they feel like they have this like superiority complex because they found that musician and not a lot of people listen to them because it's a hidden gem. Okay. So when someone finds you, they get dopamine from that and a lot of dopamine from that, especially if your content's good. That's obviously, it has to be good and you have to actually provide some sort of education on what you're selling. Okay. So that was number one, personal discovery, and then educating, right? So focusing on education before anything. You have to educate. I know a lot of people are like, oh, just push an ad with a guarantee grand slam offer. I guarantee you'll do X and Y time. Like, you can do that. You're going to get a bunch of leads, but they're going to be shit. Okay. And you're going to be, wasting a lot of money. So what I focused on is education, getting them to watch at least 9 to 19 hours, let's say 10 to 20 hours of my content before booking a call. And then when I got on a call with someone, like, I had a call, this was like not too long ago, this guy jumps on a call with me, and I don't take a lot of calls personally. Like, I don't take that many, but jumped on a call, and pretty much it's just like, oh, hey man, how are you? Where are you calling in from? Boo, 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 whatever. We talk for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then it's like, yeah, man, I've been watching your content for like 6 months. I started my YouTube channel like, I don't know, 8, 9 months ago. So he's been watching for a while, right? He's like, yeah, dude, I've probably watched all your videos. How much is your program, by the way? Oh, your program is this much? Okay, cool, right? Just close right there. You guys take credit card? Yeah. Okay. Here's the payment link. Okay, I just paid. It was like, it felt weird because I was so used to this. I was so used to objections and having to go through all the stuff, right? So it was a new paradigm that was kind of opened up for me. And right now, like with this, for example, you're probably going to be getting, like, realistically, if you spend, let's say, 50 to $100 a day, which is pretty average, you're probably going to get maybe 2 to 5 calls a day, right? So you're pretty slammed with calls. And let's say you have a call at 9, 11, 1, 4. It's like your whole day's fucked up because you're not doing work in between those calls, right? We all know how that is. Okay. So 2 to 5 calls a day, let's just say per day. With this right now, I'm maybe taking about 2 to 5 calls a week, right? About 2 to 5 calls a week. Okay. But my closing rate is about 85%, 2 to 5 calls a week, right? So it's like, would you rather this with a closing rate of, let's say, 10%, 15%, or this with a closing rate of 80%, right? Like, I would much rather do this and spend the rest of my time, educating myself or fucking watching TV, like, or just not doing this, which just feels like slave work sometimes. Okay. So I'm going to come over to this, and I'm going to actually kind of walk you guys through what I wrote out and some of the reasons for that. Okay. So, like, for example, last month, the last few months, actually, I've gotten an extra 10 to 15K per month on top of what I'm already making just from focusing on that. And it's like, it's not a lot of effort, right? It's not a crazy amount of effort. Right. So it's just, making these videos, writing, getting longer form content out there instead of just like short form ads with Grand Slam offers, all that sort of bullshit. Okay. So this is kind of like, so pretty much with ads, like I said, spent well over 6 figures into ads. What your process looks like is, you create money, or you create ads, you spend your money, you get leads, you maybe appointment set, or you hire someone to appointment set, and then you try to close those appointments. Okay. Why is this funnel, it's amazing. And if it's dialed, you can be making millions of dollars like really quick. I have one client, actually, a few of my clients actually, but one specifically, he makes about like 60 to 100K a month. It kind of like fluctuates. And all of his clients are coming from ads. Okay. But he's local market. It's a little bit different. Okay. So why is this funnel amazing? Even if it's dialed, it could be the thing that makes you millions of dollars. But it's not the most attractive funnel for founders who want to scale long term and charge higher prices. Okay, it's not, especially if you're wanting to charge higher prices with quick sales cycles and people not having a lot of rapport with you. There's only so hard you can sell, and there's only so good at sales you can get. Okay, and this is a red pill a lot of people have to take. So many coaches are flocking to ads, and the market is getting more and more reactive to other coaches posting ads. It's just pretty much a supply and demand game. I don't know about you guys, but if I go on my Instagram, I get inundated with a lot of fitness coach ads or different sort of ads along the lines of that just like drill me. And it's just like, oh my God, like everyone sounds the same. Oh, I can guarantee that you'll lose weight, or I can guarantee you want to be a high performer, like all that sort of stuff. Okay. And pretty much what happens with supply and demand is it's very basic. It's very basic, right? Right now, I would say the demand, like if these two kind of get out of sync, if let's say supply is really low, obviously demand is going to be high. But right now, supply is really high. There's a ton of fitness coaches. Okay, there's a ton of people who are doing this. There's a ton of coaches in general, and therefore the demand is quite low, right? And just looking from that acquisition channel, like these market dynamics of supply and demand, there's just so many ads out there. You can kind of just see just by going on Instagram. Okay, so overall, the market dynamics have a larger play than a lot of people realize. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to be this new fitness coach. You know, I'm more jacked than everyone, or I'm cooler than everyone, so it's just going to work out. It's like, I hate to say it, it's not going to work. And pretty much what I've been doing to solve this is local market versus national lead quality. So if you're going to run ads, or if you're thinking of running ads, you have to start local market. This is what I make everyone do because the lead quality is like 1,000 times better. National lead quality is just like, it's horrendous. Sometimes it's really good. Like it's a hit or a miss, but I recommend everyone to start local market and then branch out. But just from an overall point of view, everyone's running ads right now, especially, you know, the supply is very high. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is the barrier to get started isn't as high as it used to be. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to run ads in the 1950s, like you would have to go buy a billboard, or you'd have to buy a placement in a newspaper, and that would cost a decent amount of money. The only people who were running ads were companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Shell, Guinness, like these larger brands that had a lot of buying power to go ahead and spend money with these, you know, newspaper companies or whatever. Okay. Even in the, let's say, you know, earlier Facebook, it was still kind of pretty expensive. They still had like a minimum spending limit of how much you minimum had to spend. Now it's like $2 a day or something, which is crazy. Like a homeless person can run ads. Okay. So for pretty much right now, for $500, you can pretty much find someone to launch ads and design a funnel for you. Just for $500 one time, they'll put together an ad campaign and they'll launch ads and design a funnel for you. $500. Okay. So a lot of people can do this. Even kids from their basement can do this just with a few YouTube videos, right? So this leads to infinitely more spend. As the greater the returns, the more incentivized businesses are to keep investing in advertising. Okay. So it's not bad because it's a low barrier. Like it's pretty easy. You can spend more. You can pretty much, like, for example, you put $1 into a vending machine, you get $3 out. You can just take that $3 and put it back into the vending machine. Okay. And you can keep running that machine. And these are great, but it just leads to pretty much more competition because there's more people who can play within that pond. Okay. More people have access to that club because it's not expensive. And you can just kind of infinitely recycle that spend. Okay. And pretty much if everyone's bidding for the same eyeballs, the prices of eyeballs will go up through the roof. Like I said, supply and demand. Okay. So everyone, all these fitness coaches, how do you think these ad platforms work? Let's say you're a fitness coach and you're running ads for weight loss. You're competing with other people who are also competing for those same people within the audience who are most likely to convert. Okay. So whoever's going to spend more, Facebook is going to prioritize, because Facebook at the end of the day is a business. They want to make money. Okay. So it's at the end of the day, it's a bidding system and you're bidding for eyeballs. The price of eyeballs are going to go up through the roof if everyone's bidding for these same eyeballs. Okay. And if everyone is advertising and selling the same way, right, the consumers and prospects get used to the funnels and less conversions over time. I've even found this as well with Zoom calls. This is just a personal insight, but a lot of people, they have this negative connotation towards Zoom calls, jumping on a call. Hey, book a call. That term, book a call, is so unappealing to some people because they've been through so many funnels. They've checked out so many landing pages before that the term book a call reminds them of all of the other bad experiences they've had with other coaches or other businesses or whatever. They jump on a Zoom call or whatever and they try to get hard pitched, right? And it's like PTSD, okay? And the other important problem with ads is that most people aren't building an asset that will feed them tomorrow, okay? So like with this, for example, you can run this, like it's short-term. You can get short-term cash quick, which is great. I'm going to jump into that a little bit later as well. But longer term, like even Sam Ovens said, he was making like a few mil a month with his ad funnel, but he's like, you know, you're at that point, you're spending like, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 a day on ads. And it's just like, it's hectic. It's crazy. right? He's like, if I turn it off, my entire business shuts off. So longer term, you're not really building an asset that will feed you tomorrow. And the entire point of business is not to just produce. It's to build something that will produce. Okay. So building a machine rather than just trying to produce in itself. So that's a big concept. And as soon as you stop advertising, you stop getting the benefits of advertising. So by focusing on ads, you build dependency on a channel, which can be risky. Sam Evans, like I just said. And number two, to get more out of the beast, you have to keep on paying it, have it distributed in front of the audience. So you can never really take a break from ads. You have to continually keep doing it. So for example, with long form content, so this lengthened sales cycle content, I'm pretty much just talking about YouTube. If I pull up my YouTube, which is, I'm actually making this video for YouTube. Let me pull this up. So for example, some of my videos, like some of my older videos, will still get me a lot of views. Like this one video right here, this school video, 2.8K views. For the first month, I got like 40 views. But it slowly just started picking up. And maybe it will get like, 500 views a month or something like that. Okay. Because why? There's search intent. People will look up how to start a school community as a fitness coach. And what that does is that's slowly bringing me, people and leads who book calls with me and are actually interested. Okay. Let me come back to this. And that's the thing with YouTube and long form. Like YouTube will distribute a video and they'll target people organically, totally for free, super long term. And ads won't do that. If you stop paying it, it's gone. Bye-bye. Even short form content like TikTok and Instagram Reels, after you post it, maybe a week max, and then it's done. YouTube, completely different story. And these are all free impressions. With ads, you have to pay for impressions. If I come back to my YouTube, let me pull this up, my channel. If I come to my YouTube and I come to analytics, I haven't been posting a lot. But for example, if I come to impressions, so 56,000 impressions, okay, totally for free. So if I were to pay Facebook for 56,000 impressions, that would be, let's say with about a $100 cost per mil. Do the math. That's 5.6K. Okay, so it's very expensive, and I'm getting this for free. Okay, so that's another problem with ads that I found. And then pretty much the last problem is with ads, it's very sales focused. So I know I talked about this before, but it's very sales focused. So for example, with my YouTube, I get people who jump on a call, they immediately purchase with no resistance because they are nurtured. They've watched me. Okay, they understand who I am. They know how I talk. They understand my mechanism. They're like bought in. Okay, and then for example, with ads, maybe they've seen 30 minutes of your content max. Maybe they've watched a 30-minute VSL, and you have to make up for that nurturing with selling. Okay, which is good. It's not a bad thing. I love closing people. I'm a hard closer as well. I'm good at sales. I teach people how to sell. Yes, you have to be good at sales. But at the end of the day, is that a game you really want to play? Okay, so let's jump into kind of like what you should do with this information, because you're probably thinking, oh my God, ads suck. I should never run ads ever again, which you're actually wrong. You should actually run ads. Okay, so I still run ads for my clients. And the reason is pretty much this right here. So it's pretty much the difference of short-term versus long-term thinking. Okay. And I know a lot of people say, oh my God, think long-term. Business is all about long-term. Think long. I actually disagree. Okay. I think you should focus, yes, on long-term, but you should also focus heavily on short-term and trying to get cash somewhat quick. Okay. We're in a day and age right now where you can, like I said, post an ad, get someone to click on that ad, book a call with you in 12 hours and close them the next day. Okay. And I've done that multiple times before. So if I'm working with someone, I don't want them to make money only long-term or only short-term and not long. I want to guarantee cash long-term and guarantee cash short-term. Okay. I want to make sure that they are both working together in tangent with one another. Okay. And pretty much how I do this is we run ads and we focus on YouTube with long-form nurturing, long-term nurturing, so that they have people who've been watching them for 6 months. They don't even know that of these people existing. Okay. But then they book a call 6 months later. Hey, I've been watching your content for 6 months. Oh my God, great. Let's jump into it. Right? Here's my credit card. Let's do it. Okay. So with ads, very short sales cycle. It's going to be very sales focused. It's going to be very difficult emotionally. You're going to have to understand sales. You're going to have to get good at sales, and you're going to be able to close a decent amount with this. Okay. I would say this caps off, if you're a one-man show, this is going to cap off at around 30K a month. Okay. When you're running ads by yourself. So that means your appointment setting yourself and you're closing yourself, because there's so many calls you can take without, you have to fulfill, you have to do stuff on the back end, you have to take a shit, you have to, work out, whatever. This is going to cap out about 30K a month by yourself. With YouTube, there's no cap, okay? Because once you get YouTube really rolling and your really long form, like your long form content is really locked in, you'll get maybe a few calls a week, but each of those calls will close because they're so nurtured. And it's just like, you'll replace this very quickly, and then you'll not want to do this ever again. That's kind of at the stage that I'm at right now. Okay. So this is something you have to go through. You have to run ads. You have to understand how to sell, because if you don't, you're going to just you're going to do YouTube and just wait for 8 months before you start picking up, and you're not going to make any money. Okay. And then you're going to get these people on a call and you're not going to understand anything about sales. Okay. So having sales knowledge is definitely a good thing. 99% of people will actually quit because they cannot weather through the emotional storm of running ads. Because when you spend money, you get people on a call, you can taste their credit card. You can taste the 3 digits on the back. You can taste it. Okay. But that deal doesn't close. And it's just this massive, it's a ton of pain. It's a ton of like agony all the time. And it sucks. Okay. But if you're able to weather through that storm, understand how to sell, get really good at sales. Like if I didn't have the knowledge from selling with ads, I would never be at the point where I am right now with YouTube, because it's not even at the point, and I'm not even like that, like I'm not with YouTube. I wouldn't even say like my mentor's making like 500K a month just from YouTube alone, which is nuts. Okay. So, just when it comes to tonality, when it comes to just speaking in general, when it comes to, even closing people on calls with YouTube, like having these sales skills is definitely crucial. Okay. It's a phase you're going to have to go through, honestly, in terms of ads. So having these two working together is definitely very advantageous. So I want you to think, let's say you are maybe, doing short form content. Maybe you're doing short form TikTok, for example, and you're just like, doing something like that, and you're pushing people to book a call. Like think of doing a long-term, having education that you are focusing everything around, because at the end of the day, if you're selling entertainment, you're competing with Netflix, you are competing with fucking like Logan Paul. Okay. And you're going to get crushed by those people. So you have to compete with education within a specific domain. I have tons of other videos about selecting markets on how to compete. So go ahead and watch those if you want help with those. But think about long-term education before trying to push people into a call. Or if you're thinking of or if you're like, oh my God, I'm just going to, or if you're thinking like, oh my God, I'm doing this process, I'm going to quit. Definitely don't quit, because you still have to perfect this process, and this process will get better over time. Okay. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this video was insightful. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.